Kay Nash, and welcome back to another episode of Living Well. Today I'm going to tell you a testimony of how I got $5,000 in the mail. It wasn't a work paycheck, it wasn't a tax return or anything like that, and the steps that brought me to that point so you can have a financial breakthrough as well. Now, I was about 19 years old and I was working as a manager at a burger and fry kind of restaurant. It wasn't a great job, and I was also interning at a television station, and I was kind of praying that I would get a job there, and I did. I got offered a job there, but it was going to be a month till I got my first check, and on top of that, I was going to receive a 50% pay decrease. And I had just gotten a new car, and even though I had paid for most of it in cash, I think I had put maybe $7,000 or $8,000 down in cash, I still had a pretty significant, maybe $200 a month car payment, plus I can't remember how much it was at the time, but a car insurance payment on this car as well. And with the pay decrease that I was going to be taking, I really wasn't sure how I was going to pay my car payment anymore, because I still owed about $5,000 on the car. And so I was nervous about it, and because of the gap in pay, I didn't know at the time that there was going to be a month gap in pay. They said, oh, come soon. But I knew that I needed to take the job because I needed to get out of the serving industry. I knew that it was worth the financial risk to get into television. And obviously, even now with doing this YouTube channel, I see how God is using my television experience to get that to be even more redeemed. So anyway, I was like kind of freaking out a little bit. I came to the point where I was down to $120 in my bank account. I hadn't received my first paycheck yet. I didn't know when it was coming, and but I knew that I needed to make that risk, and so I just didn't know what to do. Well, anyway, I went on a trip to South Carolina to visit my grandma at the time, and I went to a church there that I had never been to before, and they were asking for an offering, and I felt in my heart, and this is before I even really knew the Lord's voice like I do now. It was just more of like a here and there kind of thing. It wasn't the constantness that I feel now, or I mean, maybe it was, and I just was, my heart was too loud, or maybe I was too influenced by other things to not hear it. But anyway, I felt led to give $50, and so I gave $50, and my friend that was with me, they were like, are you dumb? You only have $120. You don't know when your next paycheck is coming. You have all these bills. You know, I had to pay for rent and car payments, car insurance, electric, you know, water, food, gas, everything, new clothes for the job, everything, because serving clothes to television clothes, dramatic wardrobe change. And so I really was just like, you know what, the Lord told me to do it. At the time, I don't even know why I said that, because I really didn't know the Lord's voice, but I said that. I was like, well, you know, I just felt led to do it, and somehow it's going to work out. I'm not really sure. And I just was at peace about it. And that was my first, like, sacrificial offering I had really ever given. The times that I had given before that, it wasn't very sacrificial. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, I got an extra $3, $4, and I wasn't even really a solid tither at the time. And I know some people will be like, oh my God, how did this happen? And I don't know. Sometimes God is just good. Honestly, I was just ignorant. I didn't know even about the tithe or anything like that. I just knew when you felt something from the Lord, you just did it. And so I gave that money. Well, 2 weeks later, I get a check in the mail for $5,000, and I was able to pay off my car, and so that car payment was gone, and everything was fine, and the Lord really blessed me in that way, and so it was a miracle. And so you may be wondering, where did this check come from? Well, my former stepfather, who never officially became my stepfather, but basically was, because he was with my mom for years, probably almost 7 years or something like that, he and my mom weren't together anymore, but he had sold a house. And when he sold the house, he felt like he wanted to give me some money, because when I was a kid, when I was 14 years old, I had worked on the house. I had helped him build an attic, chop down trees, lay tile, all those kinds of things. And he just felt like he didn't feel right, like not giving me anything because of the work that I had done on this house. Now, while I was doing that, I didn't expect anything in return from my stepfather figure at the time. I was 14. I was just helping him out, whatever. And, and the same thing when I gave the $50 to the church that I had never been before. I wasn't expecting no $5,000 breakthrough. I honestly didn't even understand that stuff. Honestly, I was just doing it out of a good heart. I was just like, well, I think I'm supposed to do this, and so I think there's this myth sometimes that it's all about faith, and faith is important, the righteous walk by faith and all that stuff. But the grace of God is so much more than that, because now that I'm mature, I'm responsible for those things. But back then I was just ignorant and didn't know a lot of things. I just had a loving heart. And so I think, you got to be obedient to those promptings of the Lord, as weird, as odd as they might seem, or as whatever, because that $50 really became $5,000, And so when you think about that, you think about how $50 became $5,000, that's 100-fold. And the Bible talks about 100-fold, but it talks about producing, and this is where some people don't like to see this part of the verse. It says producing a 30, 60, and 100-fold harvest. And really how we produce 100, 30, or 60-fold harvest is walking in love and obeying the Lord in a constant way, and we produce a harvest. Now at the time I didn't know that. I was just doing those things because I just did, and so I really think that if you have a loving heart, and you are planting seeds when God tells you to plant seeds, whether it's financial or back then it was helping somebody out, it might not be financial, it could be a time seed. God is going to take care of you, and he didn't even know, my stepfather figure, he didn't even know at that time that I was struggling financially. He lived in Tennessee at the time, and I lived in Florida, and we didn't talk all the time. We talked maybe every other month on the phone or something like that. Just, hey, how you doing? Whatever, just catched up. I don't know if this is hitting my mic, and so I just really want to tell you that you need to just believe and walk in faith, but do it. I don't think we love to get things, I think that's just a byproduct of love and obedience. I think when we do it just to get things, we become anxious, or we become controlling, or we become weird. Now, that doesn't mean we don't believe for things, but I don't love people so that I get something. I don't give seeds to God so that I get something. It's like when I have the heart just to give and just to love, and that's it, that's often when I'm going to receive a harvest, because I was walking in pure love. And when you walk in pure love, there's a big harvest for that, And you might not always see it right away. When I worked on my stepfather's house, I was 14, and so I was around 19. So say 5 years later, I experienced that harvest of the $5,000 right when I needed it to pay off my car and just be done with that payment. But at the time, I didn't think anything. I thought, oh, he wants help with the house. Okay. And so I think just sow seeds in love, walk in faith, believe for those bigger financial miracles, and you're going to see awesome things happen. So I'm just going to pray for you and stand with you in faith for that. So Lord, I pray that for 100-fold blessings to break out on your people, 100-fold for seeds they have been sowed. God, all the people of love and walking in a pure heart and trying their best every day to just follow you, Lord, I pray for 100-fold blessings to come down from heaven on them. God, I just feel like you're even rewarding people for just even watching this, God, just for even having the faith to believe, God. God, bring up their seeds and turn it into a beautiful tree, God, and may their hope not be deferred, God, but may you develop a tree of life in their life, God, so they could really experience the harvest and take the fruit off that, Lord, and help them yield the crop and walk in the harvest. Beloved, walk in the harvest. Beloved, walk in the harvest. Jesus, amen. Yeah. Jesus. I wanted to talk to you guys about my life coaching. I have a couple, about the end of the month, I'll stop enrolling clients. There's a few spots left. So if you haven't accepted and haven't filled out your contract, do it quickly. But if you haven't even filled out an application yet, go to newlifeslifecoaching.com and fill out an application, because this is your year to walk in your destiny, you know. It's sometimes you need somebody to help you walk a little closer with the Lord and walk closer to your destiny, because we're not made to do things alone, you know. When there's two, you can do a lot better than there's one. That's what the Bible says, because one can fall down, but if nobody's there, nobody can pick that person up. But when there's two, they can help them get back up. Let's go, let's go, let's go. You know, and out of the heart flows the issues of life. One of the main things we deal with in my life coaching is heart healing, because, you know, it doesn't matter how determined you are in life. You can be very determined, but out of the heart flow the issues of life. So you could just be setting fires to your life all over the place with your heart, and you might not even know it. It might be a subconscious thing, or you're not even knowing what's going on, and all these fires are coming around your life, you know. That's not what God has for you. God has peace for you. He is the Prince of Peace, and so we want you to get you in that peace and walking in your destiny. So make sure you visit newlifeslifecoaching.com. And I hope you guys have a blessed week, and I really hope that you guys have stories of 100-fold breaking forth in your life. If you have financial testimonies that are going to encourage people, leave them in the comments below. And if you have 100-fold harvest, please leave that in the comments below, because I think it's so important that we just break out of these religious things that we aren't going to receive a harvest. We are. God rewards those who diligently seek Him, and so there's something for you. I hope you have a great week, and God bless you, and be that special light in the world that only you can be. Talk to you guys soon.